Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com, and today, kind of a new release from Basel 2018. I didn't talk about it much in my Basel wrap-up video. I might have mentioned it just for a second, but if you recall in that video, if you watched it, I showed you a couple of blue 39mm Fliegers that Laco was coming out with. That's not what this video is about, but it's kind of about that. It's about just the black dial versions of those watches. You know, Laco's got two base models that sell extremely well. They're Miyota-based Fliegers, 42mm, and it is the Augsburg and the Aachen, the 86-1688 and the 86-1690. 42mm cases, like I said, Miyota movement, 20mm lug, just really nice, simple pilot's watches. But, you know, and I'll get into that. I think I'm going to get into it when I show you the watches. 42 in a Flieger or a pilot's watch is a lot different than 42 in a diver's watch, and I think a lot of people find them unwearable. So Laco made the decision to produce the watch in 39, which I thought was a wonderful idea. They made it in 36, and that was discontinued last year. The Tokyo and the other one, you know, it escapes my memory at this point. But it was a 36mm Flieger, but something about it just looked off. The proportions were kind of weird. I think it was marketed more as a ladies' watch, but, you know, men did buy it, but it just looked a little funky. I think in this case, though, the 39, I think it's perfect. I think you're going to find it perfect, too. I'm sorry, my own wrist check. Maybe you'd be surprised to see me wearing a Garmin running watch. If you're following me on Instagram, then you won't be surprised. This past weekend was the Long Island Marathon weekend. No, I don't run marathons. I did run the 10K though. This is the watch I wear for running, and I just need to download everything still to my office computer. So there's nothing on this wrist. So we'll take care of that in the next video, though, I promise. Anyway, let's get over to the table and check out these 39mm Laco Fliegers. In front of you here, I've got the two watches that I'll be talking about today. I do have the 42mm version as a comparison to bring up, but I wanted to start with just the two watches that we're discussing. So, like I said, these are model numbers. Well, I didn't say it. I'm going to tell you now. 86-1990, and the other one is 86-1988, and they retained the original 42mm name, the Aachen, and the other one's the Augsburg. They just added the 39 to the end of the name. I'm not sure I really agree with that. I think they should have gone with new names for the watches, but I guess you know what they are just by hearing the name. An Aachen 39, Augsburg 39. Again, they have different part numbers. The prices are pretty much the same as the 42mm versions. You saw that before, like €340 is the retail. In the USA, they're going out at about $410 US. So they retain all the same characteristics of the 42mm version, just smaller. Now, of course, towards the end, the most important thing I'll do is put it on my wrist so you can see. But while I have these two here, I'm going to bring up the 42. I only have the A dial with me. I didn't bring the B dial. But you could see only 3mm difference in diameter, but look at the difference in size. I mean, it's like baby and daddy. It's amazing. Like I said, a lot of people have trouble wearing a 42mm Flieger. Either doesn't fit right or it doesn't look right. The big difference is with Fliegers, and I try to tell this to people all the time, is that the crystal and the dial, as it were, are most of the diameter of the watch. Whereas if you get a diver of similar outer diameter, 42mm, the crystal is so much smaller than the watch itself. Believe it or not, these are about the same diameter watch. The crystal on this SKX 009, it's a domed crystal, yeah, but this is 31.5mm in diameter. This is so much larger, but yet the watches themselves are just about the same size. Tip to tips, yeah, the Flieger is a couple mils more, but not only that, just if you picture it on your wrist, more like a pie pan, the one in my left hand, much bigger appearing than the one in the right hand. So, watch sizes aren't always, what they seem. You have to dig a little deeper sometimes. In Fliegerland, the B dials tend to be the more popular ones, which I understand. It's funny, most people want a Flieger for its simplicity, but the B dial adds just a little bit more to make it, in my opinion, a little more interesting. We did a watch and learn. I did a watch and learn on the difference between A dials and B dials. You may want to check it out. This is the Observer dial. Minutes are on the outside, a navigator's dial, whatever you want to call it. Hours are on the inside, more prominent. So you can see the hour hand kind of points to the hours circle, and the minute hand is pointing to the minutes. But let's go over the specs. So like I said, it is 39 millimeters in diameter. That's from here to here. Your thickness is 12 mils. That's the same on the 39 and the 42. The tip to tip, right here to here, is 46 millimeters. The tip to tip on the 42 was obviously, not surprisingly, just 3 millimeters more at 49, but definitely squashes it down. It is powered by a Miyota movement. You can see in the back it's an automatic. Obviously a unidirectional winder. You can see sometimes you really get the rotor to spin around. It's a Miyota 821A movement, I believe, 21 joules. 40-hour power reserve. Hand winds, so you can wind it like that, or it winds by the motion of your wrist, and it does not hack. But when you go to set the time, you can see, there you go. Obviously absent no date. It's a Flieger. It's meant to be clean, easy to read, so they've retained, or not retained, any date. There's no date on the dial at all. See-through case back. It's a pop back, 5 atmospheres or 50 meters water resistance. Just did a watch and learn on explaining how 5 atmospheres becomes 50 meters. You should probably watch that one as well. Nice upgrade they did years ago to all of the Miyota base Fliegers, sapphire crystal. What a great upgrade, because it really puts it on par with much more expensive models from other brands. Of course, yes, it still has a Miyota engine in it, but really elevates the watch, brings it up to another level. And looks, you really can't tell the difference, but in wear over time, it's scratch resistant sapphire, so it's going to look good for a very long time. 18 millimeter strap, which makes sense. The 42 was 20 millimeters, so this is 18 millimeters. It's a brown 2-rivet strap. Signed buckle, of course. I showed you the tag briefly before. I'll show it to you again. Item number, name, Laco 21 is the name of the movement. Laco names all of their movements. The 21 movement corresponds to a Miyota 821. Price, and you may think of this in the U.S. as a UPC code. In Europe, it's an EAN, a European article number, 13-digit code. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? I did the water resistance, 2-year warranty. I did the price of $410. Lume, yes, it's got Lume. Of course, we'll do Lume in a second. First though, I do want to get on the dial and show you some of the things that are written there. So there we go, Laco 1925, which is a nod to the company's origins. The company began as Laco and Co. Laco is a contraction of that name. It is worth noting that Laco is one of the 5 original manufacturers of watches for the German Air Force, and that still makes them today. Made in Germany, so it qualifies for the Made in Germany seal, which is cool. And then just check it out. It's definitely a value watch. So nothing totally spectacular about it, but it's still a very simple, nice looking pilot's watch, German origins, and it's got the German pedigree to boot. So let's flip out the lights and see how she lights up. So obviously there's no trouble at all seeing it. I mean, it lights up unbelievably. The A dial is just sitting right here, so to show you that also. If you want for comparison, my Seiko is still sitting here, so you could see easily, an easy comparison in lume brightness. And again, as you guys know, my studio generally is not that dark. There's a nice light source right here behind me, but it lights up quite easily. So let's go over the case details quick. It is a brushed stainless steel case, as you can see. I had mentioned it's a pop back, exhibition case back. Laco watches on the rotor, made in Germany. Sapphire crystal, 5 atmospheres. Nice onion crown, easy to grip and turn. Everything about the watch, it just relates back to its purpose, which is, quite literally just to tell time. Let's move on to the A dial, which is the 86 1988. So this is the Augsburg 39. It's really the same watch, so there's not much here to really say about it, just a different dial. This is the A dial or the pilot's dial. There's no minutes track, and it's quite simple. Regular hands, same hands you saw before. I don't know what there really is to say about it. Same exact watch, same crown, same case, just a different dial. Oh, I might have said I said same hands. I really didn't mean it. The hands are different because on the B1, the hands are meant to just hit that inner hour circle. I just want to make that clear. So the hands are a bit different. But it is also kind of important to note that the regular 42 millimeter versions of these watches, the one I showed you in the beginning, Laco revved these up recently to a .2 version, they called it. Instead of changing the number, they did change the case a little bit. They changed the hands a little bit, so it is a little bit different than some photos you might see online. If the photos are more than, say, 6 months old, either they haven't sold a watch in 6 months or they just never updated their photos. But just something important to note. So I think to finish it up, I do want to throw it on my wrist just to show you what it looks like on my now, smaller than average 6 3/4 inch wrist. I really think that this is the Flieger for the rest of us. Festivus for the rest of us. This is the Flieger for the rest of us. So let's check it out on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. Okay, so there she is on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. Like I said, 46 millimeters on the tip to tip, so it's plenty fine. It's a beautiful size. I'm the kind of person, though, that would have worn the 42 millimeter anyway. But now, if I had a choice between the two, and I think I would pick the 39, because like I said before, remember, the crystal plays such a difference. I mean, so these watches are different sizes, 39, 42. But you wouldn't know it by looking at them. You really would have to take a scale or a caliper and put it on just to see what's going on. It's a major difference in the size appeal. I think that is just so important to note. It's a video I want to do one of these days. I was not quite sure how to tackle it. Picking the right size watch for yourself, because there's so many variables that come into play. So let's look at the strap. So the strap is interesting here. I'm actually nowhere near. I'd probably be on that hole right there. So I can actually go down another half inch, so maybe a 6 1/4 inch wrist, and then going upscale, I can probably go another 3/4 to an inch, so a 7 1/2 inch wrist. But I think it is 7 1/4 or a 7 1/2 inch wrist. You're better off with the 42 millimeter version. I would say like a 7-ish. It might be your cutoff, but isn't that awesome looking? It looks so nice. Perfect size, really is. Totally bravo to Laco. Not that this was, splitting the atom or anything, but just finally, bringing this to fruition. Imagine what the blue is going to look like. Yeah, that's going to be great. So let's wrap this one up. So this has been Mark from LongIslandWatch.com showing you 2 new Laco Fliegers. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below, and I will be sure to address them as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.